So I have been drawing for a while now, and there's a particular way I like to draw, but most of the videos I see on YouTube, most of the tutorials, don't do the don't show what I think is the fundamental thing. So what most tutorials do, they say let's start with 1 point perspective, and then you can learn how to draw boxes by doing this kind of thing, right? You can see how this might not be too clean, but you've got something like this, right? And you can learn how to draw boxes. Maybe that's not the best box. You could do another one this way. Let's do it here. Let's be interesting. And then, because you have this 1 point, you can constantly use that as your reference to make all of these different boxes in different places. You can do one more here. And I'm going to do this with my imagination because I know how to do it roughly. So you can see how 1 point perspective gets you this kind of thing. You can do 2 point perspective and it gets you this kind of thing, like that. And you can imagine you can do all sorts of different things, and then you're normally taught 3 point perspective after that. Okay, 1, 2, 3. Then you can say, oh look, you can do like a skyscraper because you can do this sort of thing, right? Then you follow this line, and then let's do this, and then see you've got like a cool building. You can imagine you could do like a whole city based on that kind of these sorts of lines. I won't get too carried away, but just to make the point, you can do that sort of, you can do this sort of thing, and then you can fill it out and you could make a city, and that's nice. But there's only really one trick for drawing anything. You don't really have to, imagine if imagine if you wanted to turn your camera this direction, and so all of the content of your drawings shifted over this way. How would you do it? Because it's actually not that hard. And so I just thought I would teach just the one fundamental principle you actually need if you want to draw anything in perspective. So let's explain first. Imagine you are here. You're just this little eyeball, this like 2D eyeball. So this is forwards. Let's say this is 1 unit forwards, 2 units forward, 3 units. Okay, and then let's just do some quick grid lines. And so whenever you're drawing, there's this fundamental question you're asking, right? Which is, so you live in this 3D world and you're trying to put something onto a 2D piece of paper. And so the question is, whenever there is a line, because you're always using lines to draw, right? So the question is, when you have a line in 3D, what kind of line does that have to be in 2D for it to work, for the drawing to be convincing? And let's just take, for example, a line like this. So let's say it goes diagonally through this. And so imagine, right, so you have this maybe like a piece of paper, and it's sort of this thing. Or shall I, I'll change the color. Let's do this. So you have this like box. You're trying to draw. Actually, no. You know what? I'll do it like this. We're looking totally from above here. Okay, so you have this dot here, and you know that that's going to have to be roughly where. It's going to roughly be here. You have something here, and it roughly has to be here. Something here. It roughly has to be here, right? And basically this is the way you figure out, if you're doing it pixel by pixel, this is how you'd have to figure it out, right? But there's this question, which is, so you have this line in real life. What is the line that you have to draw on the piece of paper? And if you take this, and let's actually scale it down. Oh, that's not scaling down. Right, let's look at this slightly further away. Maybe I've made that too small. Okay. Imagine, so this line, let's say, goes just on forever. And so the question is, you know, how do you know what direction to draw this line? And actually, as it turns out, so imagine, right, everything gets smaller as it gets further away, right? So this is the first important observation. Everything gets smaller as it gets further away. So imagine you are, you know, what direction is this line going? Well, it's effectively, how do I put this? Consider the line that your eyes have to go to be parallel, right? So if you take that line, you know that that line is never going to meet. And if you angled it any closer, if you started to do this, eventually the lines will cross, right? And this is the key observation. The first line that doesn't ever intersect the line you're trying to draw is the line of sight that's parallel to the line you were trying to draw, right? So this is really important. That means that when, you know, if you know what the line is, if you know what this line is, then make your eyes point in that direction, and that's your vanishing point. Does that make sense? So, I mean, if you think of it this way, right? Your eyes, if on the piece of paper they look here, then you are off by a certain amount, right? You're off. If you try to draw this line by putting it here, you'd be off by quite a bit. You know, your visual error is quite big here. This whole thing, that visual error is quite big. But if you consider, imagine you were trying to draw this point, and instead you draw on your piece of paper here. Now your visual error is actually less, right? This is a smaller angle. And as you go further and further out, right, let's even, you know, let's redraw this. Imagine, you know, your eye line is like this, and maybe this, you know, if you zoom out really far, maybe this building is actually like here, right? And you can see how now if you tried to draw this point, you approximated it using this point, then on your eye line, well, the direction that your eyes have to look to be parallel to the thing you're trying to draw becomes a better and better approximation, because now this triangle is so small it's quite difficult for me to even draw how much error there even is, right? So I hope that's somewhat cleared up. That might not be a super clear explanation, but let me give a demonstration. So imagine something that people struggle with a lot is drawing hills. So let's say you have let's say you have a path, let's say you have like a little road like this, okay? And so this is your, you know, first point, this is your 1 point perspective, right? So you have this stuff, and then let's say you have some houses, and again let's do 1 point perspective. So you've got something like this, right? This looks more like a corridor, to be honest, but whatever. And then, you know, people want to sort of figure out, how do I draw a hill? And so they kind of just guess, like, I guess it sort of goes up and then like flattens out. And that's actually not a bad guess, but there's a reason that works. And the reason it works is, think, if you are going up a hill, let's say you have to look at this angle, right? Your eyes have to go up from looking here to looking here to follow the angle of the hill, to be parallel with the angle of the hill. What that means is that then the hill should, as it curves, it should point all the way up there. In this case, that's quite a steep curve. but then this is the line that you're looking for. And then actually, if it at the top of the hill it becomes flat again, then parallel to that, your eye line would have to look back here, which means all these lines would start to point back down. And so now we're looking through the road on the hill, but this is, this is how the road would work. Obviously, you would just stop drawing this part, but that's enough. That's like how you draw a hill. Then you can fill details out. So let's do this. And you can see how this is already filling out to be a house already. This is totally exactly how houses work. All right, and then I'm just going to guess where these roofs are. Can you see how this is exactly how you fill out a drawing with using perspective. I don't want this about here, and I don't want this about here. But look, that's totally just what a hill looks like. Right, let me draw that even. Let me be even clever. Imagine you have. Okay, let's do something quite interesting. Let's say we have a bunch of platforms, and sometimes there are stairs that go up, sometimes there are stairs that go down. Right, so I'm gonna just fill out a bunch of platforms here, just to do something nice and simple. Okay, right, imagine you have, let's do one more little platform here. Okay, so imagine you want something where the stairs go down. Let's take this platform. Imagine the stairs go down, right? So if the stairs go down, maybe your eyes have to look about here to be parallel with the direction of the stairs, because they're going about 45 degrees down. So imagine your eyes, you look 45 degrees down, and you say, okay, this is my new vanishing point. So when I draw stairs, they have to go like this. Now, that looks quite steep, but I assure you this is correct for perspective drawing. And then you can do, imagine, let's take this platform, let's say you have to look 45 degrees up. So let's look 45 degrees up. Why? Because we want to make stairs that point 45 degrees up. And so this is our new vanishing point. And so, see, this looks much nicer. Can you see how naturally this looks like exactly the kind of gradient that you want to draw? Okay, imagine, let's say we have some stairs here that go at 45 degrees up as well. So this is our vanishing point, and then we draw like this, and like this. Oh, that line was a little bit wonky. There you go, and then maybe you want this to point down. This is going to be a little bit tough to draw convincingly because the perspective is very stretched, but there you go. You have this kind of thing. So again, look, that's just you're using this perspective point for here. You're using this vanishing point for here. Let's do one more. What could we do for this? Let's do. Okay, we could have stairs going up here, and I'll have to draw this through here, and look, they go straight through, and then look how naturally that looks like a platform again, right? So it's all to do with whatever angle your line is in real life, make your eyes point at that angle and then put a dot, and that's where your vanishing point is. So imagine now we have a platform that's turned 45 degrees. So instead of a platform, let's do it like this. Instead of a platform where we are like pointing towards forwards, right? Let's say this is forwards. Imagine we want to turn it 45 degrees to the left. We want to sort of, how should I draw this? We want to sort of rotate it like this, okay? So the way you do it is, okay, well now we have to have a vanishing point that points here for like this line and this line. So I'm gonna redraw this. So imagine we do it here. So this perspective, this vanishing point is quite far away now, which is slightly awkward, but not too bad. Okay, and then we have another point. So it's going to have to be, if it's 45 degrees to the left, then these lines will point 45 degrees to the right. So that's going to be about here, let's say. It should be symmetrical, right? Does that make sense? It should be around about a nice square that this forms, more or less. You might not do this perfectly, but then you take this vanishing point and this line and this line gets you that. And so if I just get rid of those lines, you should be able to see how this platform and this platform are now not the same angle, right? This one is pointing at a different angle. Maybe I'll do. Shall I draw over the top of this another platform so that you can see how if I now use the original vanishing point again, this has to go. To make this clear, I'm going to have to draw like this, and use this vanishing point to go like this, and I'm going to push. I'm going to force this quite a bit. Okay, yeah. Can you see? Like, look, this clearly is a platform that has been tilted this way, right? Rotated, and it's because now we've selected new vanishing points. This is exactly the point I'm trying to get across. That if you want to know what direction are your lines pointing in your drawing, then make your eyes point in the direction of the line. Make your eyes go parallel to the line, and then use that as a vanishing point. And then if you can use that as a vanishing point, then just basically use your judgment, and you should be able to figure out where to put the line. But the line will definitely point in the direction of your vanishing point. And I'm saying, you select your vanishing points by making your eye line parallel to the line you're trying to draw in physical space. So maybe I'll do just one more example to really make the point clear. Let's say, what kind of thing shall I draw? Okay, let's do a roof. So imagine we have, what's a good example? Imagine we have like a situation where we have this, like a house like this, okay? And we have a camera that's sort of pointing like this. So this is the kind of situation I'm going to draw now, okay? So if our camera is pointing up, that means that, let's say, just for the sake of nice framing, we have like a roof, and it's sort of like this, and it's roughly in the center of the frame. So if our camera is pointing up, that means that in our picture we have to look slightly down in order to find, if we're looking for like where did these lines go, right, of the house. Well, they're going to be pointing slightly, our eyes, for it to be parallel, if our camera is pointing up, our eyes in the picture have to look slightly down. So our vanishing point should be about here. And so ahead of time, I've drawn these lines more or less correctly. If you think about where should these lines be, actually they would be just straight up diagonal lines, but then this bit sort of gets pushed forwards, and this bit gets sort of pulled backwards as you tilt the camera up, right? And so probably, not probably, these lines will actually have vanishing points. They'll probably be like somewhere over here. But I don't think we'll need to know that this time. So because these lines are pointing slightly down, our eyes have to go slightly down, so that's where the vanishing point is. That also tells us, for example, that, okay, imagine we're still trying to fit our drawing inside the house, so these lines, they're not going to be straight down because our camera is pointing up. They're going to be pointing about, let's say about here. This might not actually be correct, but otherwise I won't be able to make the point. So now you follow this line, and then this is about where you put the direction of the lines. Can you see how that gets you this feeling of a tilt on the wall? And it's because you've selected a vanishing point where if you followed this line, eventually you would see this vanishing point, because it would be parallel to your eye line eventually, or it would converge on your eye line. Okay, so, and then you have this question of the bottom of this house. Okay, well, here is what's where your eyes have to look for things to be that are going quote unquote forwards to be. So you take this line again and you do this, and there you go. That's filled out the house, and then you can imagine again everything that's moving up like this. Where's that vanishing point going to be? Well, we have to look about here at the top for our eye line to be parallel to the lines we're trying to draw in physical space. And so this is our vanishing point. And so roughly this is how, if we wanted windows, for example, this is where we would put the windows. This is obviously a very rough drawing, but this is the kind of principle. And then, okay, right, now let's actually put some detail. So imagine, right, you want to know, like, how do I fill in these sorts of lines? Well, those sorts of lines, they're going to have to be, again, lines that point to the vanishing point, and that vanishing point will be the angle you could pick that point using the angle that your eye would have to be parallel with these lines we're trying to draw. So that would be about here again. So we take this vanishing point and then we draw, oh, that wasn't super clean. And then you kind of follow this line and you follow this line again. And that's basically how this works, right? And you can see how that is fairly nicely filling out detail. And then again, you can do this here. So let's try, what angle will lines be if they're on this roof? Well, they're going to have to be, if you look sort of up and to the right in your frame, so about this vanishing point, then it should be where these lines go, which means if you follow these lines as vanishing points, or if you make use of this as vanishing point, then you should be able to fill out that roof quite nicely. And then again, same principle here. I'm obviously doing this quite roughly because I want to just make the point clear, but this allows you to draw very roughly, but still, fairly, accurately. And see, look, you've drawn a house where you've tilted the camera up. So this is the power of knowing where your vanishing points are. And if you have that, then you don't need to worry about, am I using 1 point perspective, 2 point perspective, 3 point perspective? Everything is infinite point perspective because you know where your eyes have to be. As long as you know what angle your eye line is, so that it's parallel to the line you're trying to draw in real space, then you'll be able to find that vanishing point in your 2D drawing space. That's all you need. And so hopefully that has made the principle of drawing quite clear. There are some common mistakes I see when people do this. So sometimes people will draw like a platform and then they think, I'll draw this slightly more dramatically. Ooh, that was too dramatic. Okay, that's good enough. So imagine you have like stairs at the end of here. So you've got this vanishing point about here. So these lines are parallel with your eye line when your eye looks about here. Okay, and then imagine you want some stairs. So you say, okay, well, if I look here to go forwards, maybe I'll look about here to go up. And so you then decide, okay, I'm going to draw some stairs here. You tend to do something like that, and then that works fine. And then what people tend to do is they'll do something like, okay, now I want a new platform, and I'm going to draw my new platform to be like here. So maybe we're drawing 2 floors. Imagine this is, yeah, okay, imagine this. And we're drawing 2 floors, and so let's take this and this. So this is like some kind of nice little corridor. And we have some stairs at the end. And so people tend to say, well, what if there's some stairs here, right? How do I draw that? And then they'll sometimes do something like this. They'll say, well, I guess it will have to go like here. And I don't know why people do this, because now these stairs cannot be at the same angle that these stairs are at, right? Because the vanishing point for these stairs is now here, which means these stairs point at this angle, and these stairs point at this angle. So you have 2 stairs that are at different angles. If you're trying to draw 2 sets of stairs and they're supposed to be at the same angle, then they have to have the same vanishing point. A lot of people get this wrong. If something is at the same angle as another thing, they have the same vanishing point. So make sure you get that right. In actuality, because of the way this has been drawn, you couldn't show a staircase here, because this staircase would actually only show up here. Yeah? And so maybe if this were like a glass ceiling or something, let's do like, I don't know how to do glass with just a black line, but this staircase now is the same angle as this staircase, and that's how you would, if you really wanted to draw a staircase with the same angle, that's where you'd have to do it. Yes. So yeah, common problem. Just make sure that you really commit to this advice, that whatever angle the thing is that you're trying to draw, make sure that it has the correct vanishing point, and you'll know, because the angle your eyes have to be parallel to the thing you're drawing is what will tell you where the vanishing point is. Yeah. There's not really anything else fundamental to perspective drawing. There's a lot of calculating stuff correctly if you want to, but really it just comes down to selecting the right vanishing points. If you select the right vanishing points, there's so many things you can do. You can start to do like, you can start to really easily do villages, for example. Because you can just fill out things so quickly. I guess, I don't know, where's, let's say, vanishing point over here, and just like, look how nicely you can so quickly, to do it like this. I've drawn that line wrong, there we go, and like, just look how easy it is to fill out, drawn that line wrong as well, how easy it is to quickly fill out drawings if you know your rough perspective. Let's say then there's like some kind of platform here. I don't know, maybe these buildings are like hanging from the ceiling or something. And then you have maybe some, I don't know, what could you have? Maybe you've got like a little road. It goes along like this. And you have like, maybe, what could you add? Like, maybe a river that cuts through this diagonally. So let's say you have like something here and here, and it kind of initially goes through here, but then it cuts diagonally. So this vanishing point now goes to about here, and so it initially goes this way, but then it starts to curve this way. This line initially goes this way, but starts to curve this way. And you can just make these very nice, interesting drawings with very, with very simple principles. And then maybe you want a bridge. So let's say, let's see how we should get this. So we want to have a line like this, and a line like this, and then we want a little bridge here. So a bridge will have to be slightly raised. What will that be? It'll be, I'm just sort of guessing roughly where the middle of the bridge should be. It should be about here. And then it will have to roughly point, so it's going to point sort of along here, but a little bit lower. It's going to be about here. It's going to be something like this. And then same thing here, except this will be a little bit higher. Something like that angle. And there you go. You have like a little bridge here, and then you'd have to put your bridge about here, and then again this angle will be this one, this vanishing point. So you go about here. So that's roughly what you would want to draw. So see, you have like a little bridge here. And I don't know, maybe you want some stairs now, so maybe let's fit out this. So let's say the road stops here. Let's draw some nice lines as well. And this kind of goes over the road. Something like that, and then you have like maybe some stairs. Maybe the stairs go to this building. So then you can fill out your lines to roughly, and here you can slightly force it if you want. As long as the perspective lines as long as the vanishing points are pretty much where they should be, you can normally get away with it. You can always fix your drawings later if you really need to. You shouldn't really be cheating this stuff, but it doesn't tend to cause that many problems. So, as a first sketch, and then again, if you want to figure out sort of roughly where these steps are going to be angled, it'll be roughly like this. And so there you go. You've got something. This is how nicely you can fill out a drawing. This kind of thing. A lot of it's not like a clean sketch or anything, but you can get an idea down just with knowing that if your eye line is pointing a certain way, that's the vanishing point of the thing you're trying to draw. With just that principle, you can do these kinds of quick sketches. They're not pretty sketches, they're not sketches that will impress many artists, but if you just want to get like a nice drawing down, this is really the only thing you need. Hopefully that has helped some other people out. Hopefully some more people can just enjoy drawing a little bit. That would be nice. So let me know, I guess, if anybody sees this. Hopefully this has helped somebody. Thank you.